What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. FantasyTeamAdvisors.com, bringing home the bacon. MLB DFS video. We have your Saturday slate. We have 15 games. We have an early slate, and we have a main slate that we are going to break down. If you've never been here before, hopefully you're in for a treat. We try to have giveaways every single day. Here's how to win. You got to like the video. You got to be a subscriber to the channel. You have to leave a comment for the comment picker to pick you up. If this video gets at least 50 likes, you will have a free chance to win a free week of FTA+. That is a week of all sports that we have to offer that you can see in the title bar right here, not just MLB. So today we have MLB, we have NBA, and we have MMA. Tomorrow we have MLB, NBA, and NASCAR, so on and so forth. If this video gets at least 100 likes, you'll have a chance at a free month, 150 likes, a free year, 200 or more likes, a chance at a lifetime pass. Second way to win, somewhere in this video there'll be a keyword or a key phrase. Listen for it, type it in, and have a second chance at a free week. So that is what we're going to do. We're going to have our two giveaways. So I thought we were going to give away another month, but we did not. So we got 92 likes on the video as of the making of this video. So how it works is generally when the main slate locks, that is when the likes lock as well. So if we're at like 49, I sometimes wait to 50, but here we go. So even if the keyword is in here, we're still going to just re-roll it for the first. Let's bring home the bacon to get that Wi-Fi fixed in Mom's basement. Cliff Christine, I think this is the first time I've seen your comment or your name as a winner. So if that is true, congratulations. Please email me, dfshelp1@gmail.com. That's dfshelp, the number 1 at gmail.com, and we will get you set up. Let me know if you have a username on the website. If you do not, let me know a username, an email, and a password, and we'll get you set up on the website. So the key phrase yesterday was Mom's basement, so we are going to re-roll it, and you do have a 1 in 39 chance to have your comment picked again. Let's see if it's another new person or if it's a returning viewer of our channel. Chris Clark, if you had the keyword, you would have won there. No keyword, no win, no bueno. Wesley Weaver, congratulations. Please email me, dfshelp1@gmail.com. Let me know if you have a username on the site. If not, you know the drill. So what we're going to do is, you can already tell the video is longer than probably what you're used to. There's going to be chapters so you guys can go through. We're going to break down the slate. This shirt I'm wearing is a Filebox shirt. They are a sponsor. Maybe I'm not of this video, but they will be a sponsor. I have to edit the video. I made a little thing, and very excited to have them come on to the channel as well. So we break down every single game on the slate. It might not be for you. If you want to see a little bit, and that is it, the article that accompanies this video is in the description of this video. It'll give you some plays at pitcher and some plays at like 5 plays at each position. But we are breaking down every single game, every single pitcher, the stats that they have, what they did last year, BVP. We're breaking it all down, and I wanted to show you guys. So we are going to start with the main slate, or the early slate, I should say. Now, the early slate has 9 games. So it's 9 games early. It is 6 games late or main. We do have some weather concern here, Minnesota at St. Louis. But what I wanted to do is we're going to do things. So we're going to go through every game. Then we're going to give you the top bats out of 10,000 simulations. So I've already done 10,000 simulations in the background. After we break down all of the games, we are then going to give you the top however many bats there are that have a 10 out of 10 matchup rating or a 9 out of 10 as well. And then on top of that, hopefully it's enough for you guys to bring home the bacon. But if not, we do have FTA+, which you can check out. So looking at ballpark factors, this is one I wanted to check out and see how it's going for this game. So Kauffman Stadium usually is a pitcher's park. The wind is blowing out to left. It does give a boost. Great American Ballpark, or Great American Small Park, the weather's a little bit hotter there. And the wind is blowing out. They have the second best chance for home runs. A Nationals Park, the wind is blowing out. Yankee Stadium, the wind is supposed to blow out to center. It has the best matchup, 26% chance for home runs in that game. Great American Small Park, 25% chance of home runs. Next closest is Nationals Park, blowing out. Philly at Washington, 7%, and Guaranteed Rate Field, the Angels at the White Sox, 7% as well. So that being said, weather will play a factor, wind will play a factor. We will definitely see all of the batters that have we have a ton of batters that have a 10 out of 10 matchup rating today. So you guys buckle up, check out the chapters. We are ready to rock and roll. So here's what we do. We use outlier.bet. So no longer a sponsor to the channel, but I'm using them. I really like what they bring to the table, and I will show you why. So we're looking at the first game, Milwaukee at New York. You click into the match detail, and this is what I love. It is all combined. You got your starting pitchers. You got your BVP. We've got it all here for you, and we are going to break it down. So Fried did not face Milwaukee last year. Looking at that, he did have an 11-10 record, 3.25 ERA. BVP-wise, Milwaukee bats. Against Fried, not much. Yelich, 1 for 13. Hoskins, probably 1 for 29 or 2 for 29. And then Bowers is 1 for 3, and that is it. But then you break it down a little bit. What batters do well against left-handed pitching? And that's exactly what we're looking at here. So you can see there are some. William Contreras, we usually love to take a lefty. He didn't do anything against Rodon, but it's kind of wild to see they're facing a second lefty here. Didn't do a ton against him, and Fried's got some great stuff. So definitely see if Fried steps up to the plate here. But here's how I say it. And we can also break the game down just like this. You've got Nestor Cortez facing his former team, one of his former teams, obviously the team he spent the most time with. In my mind, with Cortez being on the bump and this Yankee team obviously having him pitch for them for 4 or 5 years, they know what he pitches. They know that he doesn't have a bunch. He's got junk stuff, but they know how he pitches. In my mind, I want to stack the Yankees in that one. So that is my mind thinking that's the kind of game I'm looking at. So Fried, we look at Fried. Splits-wise, didn't face Milwaukee last year. Pitching home and away, it's kind of different. Home games, he pitched a little bit better ERA, but obviously getting traded, his home team is no longer the same. Nestor Cortez facing his former team, obviously didn't face them last year. And then you do look at splits. His splits, home games, he was way better at home. This is technically what his home stadium was. Whether or not that's going to play a factor, I don't know. I don't trust Nestor Cortez enough, but in my mind, both of the pitchers are tournament pitchers. I would rather go with the bats, though, in this game. So if I am taking Milwaukee bats, it would be William Contreras. Rhys Hoskins, I love me some Rhys Hoskins. Only 218 batting average, but I had 8 bombs against left-handed pitching. Christian Yelich normally hits lefties better. Did not do anything, really, for opening day. Bat 322 with 4 bombs against lefties last year. I would look at those 3. I mean, Sal Frelick, he's got a lot of speed, so if he gets on the base, he could steal, get you some extra points there. That's kind of what I would look at there. If you look at the Yankees bats against Nestor Cortez, I mean, Goldie 1 for 4 with nothing. Belly 0 for 2, so nothing there. Yankees bats against lefties. Paul Goldschmidt batted 295 with 5 bombs last year. Oswaldo Peraza, he probably won't start. Had 1 home run there. Volpe had a home run on Thursday, opening day. 246 batting average, 3 home runs. Belly 298 batting average, lefty on lefty matchup does not matter. He's going to rake hopefully in this ballpark. We got 4 bombs there, and then you got Judge batted 311 against lefties. Obviously batted better against righties. That's how you can read it. If it's red, it means it's worse. So 311 is worse than what he hit against righties. But Judge, 16 bombs, 38 RBIs against lefties. I would look at them. Austin Wells, lefty-righty matchup leading off. I don't mind him either. So, in conclusion of this game, I'm probably look more towards Fried and not Cortez, and I would feel a little bit more comfortable with the Yankees bats than I would with the Milwaukee bats in this one. So we moved to the next game. You got the Angels at the White Sox. Again, 2 very bad teams. Not a ton to love about this. You got Jonathan Cannon versus Jose Soriano. Cannon, last year, 4.49 ERA. Splits-wise, he faced the Angels twice last year with 12.2 innings, 1-0 record, 4 earned runs, and 14 strikeouts. He actually averaged 23.3 fantasy points per game against them. And what I'll tell you, you're basically looking at a minimum of 2 to 2.5 times value, so 7,300 times 2 to 7,500 times 3, 2.5 to 3 is what you're looking at. So right around 20 is what you'd kind of hope for. So 23.3 is great. Angels, They're still the Angels. Mike Trout's healthy now. He got hit in the wrist yesterday or opening day, and I thought he was going to get hurt. I was going to be sad. I really want Trout to stay healthy, and I want him to rake, but we will see. Jonathan Cannon for tournaments, that is okay with me. Soriano, on the other hand, splits-wise, he did not face the White Sox last year. Pitching on the road last year, had a 2.74 ERA, so fantastic stuff. Game logs, very mixed bags. 2.2 innings, 7.2, 6, 3.1. It's the first start of the year. It's Chicago. It's windy. It's cold. I don't think I like Soriano much. The White Sox are bad, but they won their first game. Tournament-wise, both of these pitchers are good tournament pitchers. Cash-wise, absolutely not. Angels bats against Cannon. No one's really done anything. Angels bats against right-handed pitchers last year. Logan O'Hoppe, 16 bombs. Nolan Schanuel, 10 bombs. Adele had 12 bombs, but he only batted 195. You've got Jorge Soler, had 15 bombs, but only batted 234. Mike Trout, 240 batting average, only 96 plate appearances. Obviously got hurt. 10 bombs. If I were to take Angels bats in this one, and I'm not saying I'm going to, but if I were to, I would be taking Mike Trout. I would be looking at Schanuel. It'd be a cheaper option if you're trying to get, a 5-man stack or a 4-man stack. I would look at Logan O'Hoppe if he gets the start. You could even look at Yoan Moncada as well. I don't mind them. I don't love it. Paris would be a cheap option. But, it just depends if you're trying to be a little bit different. White Sox bats against Soriano. In their career, no one's got a hit. But they haven't seen him much. It's basically coming out of the bullpen base is what it would be. Against right-handed pitching last year, Chicago, not very good. Corey Lee, 9 bombs. Andrew Vaughn, 14. Andrew Benintendi, 16 bombs. Luis Robert, 13 bombs. Very surprised Luis Robert never got traded. But yeah, so if I look at that, those would probably be the only White Sox bats I'd look at. There are just other games out there that we don't have to focus on this game. We've got other options today. Now, if you want to take some of there, you can. I'm probably staying away from everyone in that game, but maybe Jonathan Cannon, because he'd be a good SP2 under 8K. Minnesota, St. Louis, this is one. Weather is a concern. We'll kind of play it by ear, kind of see if it's going to happen. You got Joe Ryan versus Eric Fetty-Wap. So Joe Ryan in this one, splits-wise, did not face St. Louis last year. Pitching on the road, had a 3.42 ERA, so a better ERA. 3.73 ERA, 147 strikeouts. The strikeouts, they were pretty good for the majority of the year, and then he didn't pitch after August 7th. So obviously he was hurt. Don't know how far, with these teams in these early games, the season just starting, we never really know how long they're going to be in the games, how deep they'll go into the games. That's the only thing that scares me a little bit. So if we look at that, I'm okay with Ryan a little bit. And then if we look at Fetty-Wap here, splits-wise, faced Minnesota 3 times last year, 1-0 record, 17 innings pitched, 2 earned runs, 23 strikeouts, averaged 25.1 fantasy points per game. 7,700 is a wild price. He is very lower than I think he should. I don't know if I want to pay up for Joe Ryan. Now, obviously, Eric Fetty was with White Sox. He didn't have the run support. Now he's with St. Louis. It's they're better than the White Sox because every other team in the world has been, but they're still not a good team. But if we dig into this game and we look at the bats in this one, we could definitely see. So bats-wise, against Eric Fetty, Correa's 3 for 3. Willie Castro has a home run. Ty France has a home run. That's it. They really haven't done anything. If you were to take, and then we could look at versus right-handed pitching. They are very good against right-handed pitching. Only 2 batters, Ryan Jeffers and Byron Buxton, were worse. Were not good against right-handed pitching. But if I'm looking at stacking Minnesota here, I'm looking at Carlos Correa, who batted .310 against righties last year. I would look at Ty France is more of the if you need a cheaper option in your lineup and you want to get a little bit different. I'm okay with that. He still batted .235 but had 10 bombs. Byron Buxton had 15 bombs. I'm okay with that. We got to use him before he gets hurt. Trevor Larnach, I'm looking at him, 15 bombs, .261, and Matt Wallner, .275 batting average, 12 home runs. Now, this is to say if you're not taking Eric Fetty, if you are going to go with the stack there. St. Louis bats against Joe Ryan. Alec Burleson has a home run, Lars Nootbaar has a home run, and Jordan Walker have a home run. That's it. Against right-handed pitching, Ivan Herrera, 323 batting average in 155 at-bats, 3 bombs. I'm looking at him. He'll be a cheap catching option for you. Nolan Arenado, 284 batting average, 11 bombs. One of those other guys that I can't believe he didn't get traded. Nolan Gorman, 15 bombs. Alec Burleson had 18. Brendan Donovan. Though I would use some sort of combination of that. Wilson Contreras as well. He had 11 bombs, batted 261. So looking at that, I am okay with a St. Louis stack because I think people are going to be on Joe Ryan, and I want to fade that, and I want to go, if I were to go on this one. Now, there are other games that I don't think we need to, like, there's so many other, we have 15, every other team is playing. You do not have to just feel like you have to use every batter in every single game. So that's kind of my thought in that one. Pitching-wise, if I'm going anywhere, it might be Eric Fetty for just being under 8K, but I don't know if I'm even going to go in that direction either. So Baltimore versus Toronto is the next game. You got Max Scherzer versus Dean Kramer. Now Scherzer, he had a thumb issue, a nagging right thumb injury this spring, but he'd been trending in the positive direction. This is my problem. When you have something wrong with your finger, you have something wrong with maybe even a fingernail, a thumb injury, they get pulled. You're paying $8,100 for a dude who had almost a 4 ERA last year. Splits-wise, he faced Baltimore last year. 0-2 records in only 7.1 innings, 6 earned runs, 5 strikeouts, 7.36 ERA, and he only got 3.1 fantasy points per game. This is not prime Max Scherzer. This is how and why are you still pitching? Baltimore's a fantastic team. Would not be surprised. I am stacking everyone in this Baltimore team. Dean Kramer, on the other hand, faced Toronto once last year, 4.1 innings, 5 earned runs, 6 strikeouts, average 6.4. I would go with the bats in this one. If I'm using bats who've had success against Scherzer, Colton Cowser has a home run, and that is it. But against right-handed pitching, Jackson Holliday had a home run. I think 4 of his 6 career home runs have come against this team. So I would use him if I'm looking at a Baltimore stack. I would look at Adley Rutschman. I would look at Jackson Holliday. Jordan Westburg, if he's in there, he should be. Batted 275 with 13 bombs. Cedric Mullins had 2 home runs on opening day. He can also get on base and steal you bases too. So maybe he hits a home run and steals a couple bases. Get you 15, 20 fantasy points. Perfect. That's what I would look at. He had 17 bombs against right-handed pitching last year. So if I'm looking at this matchup, Dean, I'm probably off of that, and I'm looking at just the bats. So Toronto bats, Bo Bichette, Vladdy, depending on who they get. I mean, Vladdy has 5 bombs against him. Probably one of the best BVP matchups here. But in 28 at-bats, 5 bombs, Vladdy should be one of the top bats and highly owned. Alejandro Kirk, Vladdy, I would look at those. Andres Jimenez, I would look at a little bit. And you can see this entire team hit way better against righties than they did lefties. So looking at that, Vladdy I'm looking at. Will Wagner you could look at, batted 344. Luke's in 64 plate appearance or at-bats had batted 328. He would be a cheap option. I mean, that is a cheap tournament option there that I don't mind. And you might even want to stack this whole game. You never know. You really never know what you could expect in this game. So not using the pitching. I'm using the bats. I'm leaning more towards Baltimore for obvious reasons, but I am okay with Toronto as well. Next game on this early slate, we got Philly at Washington. We have Jesus, the Jesus Lizard versus Jake Irvin. So the Lizard won. He faced Washington once last year. Got the loss, 5 innings, 2 earned runs, 3.60 ERA. So not bad, but only averaged 6.5 fantasy points. Splits-wise, now he's on a new team, so looking at this, home and away splits are not going to be ideal. Home, he had 481. On the road, he had 527. Technically, he's on the road here, and it's in Washington, and the wind was blowing out. That scares me a little bit. Jake Irvin, on the other hand, splits-wise, faced Philly 4 times last year. 4 times last year. 21.1 innings, went 0-3 record, 18 earned runs, 15 strikeouts, average 5.9, This is another one where I am not looking at pitching. I am looking at bats. The bats against him. I think Schwarber probably hits a home run again. I think Bryce Harper hits another home run today. Those would be my assumptions. I would look at those two. And if you want to get cheaper, you could go different directions. But Philly bats against right-handed pitching, you can see they don't do as well. They do better against lefties. Brandon Marsh would be an option. 15 bombs, batted 262 and 340 at-bats versus right-handed pitching. I'm okay with that one. I feel pretty good about that one as well. And then, yeah, it depends. If you want to go Real Muto, if you want to go Castellanos, Rojas, I'm okay with that. But I am probably not going pitching whatsoever. Washington bats against the Jesus Lizard. I mean, Josh Bell, he's always going to be in my lineup if I have a batter or a stack of some sort from Washington. C.J. Abrams, I would look at as well. 293 batting average, 5 bombs. Nate Lowe. I think Nate Lowe, I don't think I'd go Nate Lowe. I think I'd probably go Dylan Cruz. I would go Josh Bell. I'd go C.J. Abrams. Maybe Keibert Ruiz, but I don't know if I'd go Keibert there. So a little bit, if you want to go like a mini Washington stack, I'm okay. But the team I'd rather stack big time is Philly in this one because Jake Irvin has not been able to hold them down. Colorado versus Tampa Bay. You got Zach Littell versus Antonio Sensatella. Now remember, this is at Tampa Bay, but this is in the Yankees minor league stadium because Tampa Bay doesn't have a stadium. So there's not much stats to go off of like ballpark factors. Splits wise though, he faced Colorado once last year, 5 innings, 1 earned run, 16.3, not bad at 7,500. My problem is he going to go deep into games? Is he going to do 5 innings? Is he an opener? Is he going to continue? Is he going to get 7 innings? That's the problem. But it's in Florida. Should be good weather. Cloudy, but pretty good. And Colorado's Colorado. Sensatella here, not good. Game log wise, pitched 3 times last year, had a 6.57 ERA. Splits wise, yeah, there's not much to go off of. And I'm guessing there's probably not much BVP to go off of. But I guess I could be wrong. Let's try and see. So if I look, Colorado bats against Littell. Tolei has a home run. That's it. Right-handed pitching, I would look at Ezekiel Tovar. I would look at him for sure. I had 273 batting average with 18 bombs last year. Great numbers there. I don't mind that whatsoever. Britton Doyle had 18 bombs with 262 batting average. Mickey Moniak, if he gets the start, 223 batting average, 13 bombs. You could look at them. Tolei, 16 bombs. Ryan McMahon, 14. Like, if you're looking for some sort of stack, I'm okay with Colorado. I think they'll be a very under-owned stack, though. And it's a minor league ballpark. Don't forget that. Tampa Bay have never seen Sensatella before, which makes sense, but against right-handed pitching last year, Aranda, 6 bombs. You could look at Caballero, 7. But if I'm looking at bats to use, probably, I don't love it. I think Josh Lowe is going for an MRI, so I think he is out. Chris Morel, 17 bombs, but only batted 208. That's not ideal. Brandon Lau, 17 bombs. Yanni Diaz, 10 bombs. You could use those guys, but this just feels like a game where maybe Colorado is a stack because I don't think people are going to be on them. And you never know. We do 20,000 simulations a day. I've already done 10,000. We'll see if the stack percentages. And those are on our cheat sheet as well, so make sure you check it out. So you got San Francisco at Cincinnati, Great American Small Park. This is one where the ball could fly out of there. You got Verlander versus Nick Lodolo. Verlander last year faced Cincy once, 4.2 innings, 5 earned runs, had a 5.48 ERA. I don't know why he's still pitching either. It's, a home game 798, but he's no longer in Houston. Away games 428. It is Great American Small Park at 8,000. I'm surprised that they've still put him at 8,000. Could he spin a gym? Yes, he could. Can the ball fly out of this ballpark? It absolutely can. Way more than he could spin a gym. Splits wise, for Lodolo. Faced San Francisco once last year, 4 earned runs, 6 strikeouts, 13.9. Again, with this ballpark, with the weather and the wind blowing out, I'd rather take the bats and feel a little bit more comfortable than taking the 2 pitchers, the one who's 45 and then the other one who's not 45, but I don't trust him. But if you look at San Francisco bats against Lodolo, Matt Chapman has a home run. Usually we like to take him against lefties. And you can see last year batted .254 with 6 bombs. Elliot Ramos, 370 batting average and 108 plate appearances against lefties with 10 bombs. I would use him. Tyler Fitzgerald, 318 batting average, 6 bombs. I would use him. Matt Chapman's the other one I would use. Maybe Lamont Wade at 324 batting average and Casey Schmidt, 311 batting average, 4 bombs. I would look at them. Cincy, on the other hand, against Verlander, Candelaria has a home run. Espinal has a home run, and that's it. But against righties, they hit righties very well. I would look at Elly De La Cruz. If he doesn't hit a home run, I'm looking at a stolen base or 2. Gavin Lux, 262 batting average, 10 bombs. TJ Friedel, 11 bombs. You got Spencer Steer, 17 bombs, batted .229. Take what you can. Candelario you could look at. I don't mind. I really like a Cincy stack. I think they're going to be highly owned because of the ballpark factors, and the pitcher they're facing, but I do not mind them whatsoever. So we move on to Cleveland at Kansas City. Like I said, normally this is a pitcher's park, but the wind is blowing out. Seth Lugo versus Gavin Williams. Lugo, obviously these guys have seen each other before. Lugo had a 3 ERA, faced Cleveland 3 times last year, 16 hits allowed, 6 earned runs, 19 strikeouts, averaged 21.6. He had great numbers. He was looking great. You look at that, like, great numbers here. Until, really, he had a good game against Baltimore, but that was it. But then he had a huge 38 against the Yankees. It's a weird. If the wind wasn't blowing out, I would love Lugo. If the wind changes, maybe we change our mind on Lugo a little bit. But Cleveland, normally, they can put up runs. Gavin Williams here. 5 ERA last year. Splits-wise, he faced Kansas City twice. 1-1 record, 12 innings pitched, 12 strikeouts, averaged 22.1. Another one who's up there at almost over 8K. With the wind blowing out, that does scare me. That's the problem here. Tournament-wise, I don't mind either of these pitchers for tournaments. But both of these offenses are very good. If they get to clicking together, could be game over. So we look at that. If we are looking at Cleveland bats against Lugo, Santana has a home run and Lane Thomas, but other than that, they really haven't hit left or righties very well. Jose Ramirez had 25 bombs, but only batted .254, but that's above league average. League average last year, I think, was .240. Santana with 11 bombs. You could look at Bo Naylor had 11 bombs, but only batted .202. But the wind is blowing out, so literally if they can get the barrel under the ball a little bit, the wind could blow out. So Stephen Kwan I would look at. I would look at Jose Ramirez, obviously. I would look at maybe a little bit of Carlos Santana. Maybe a little bit of Gabriel Arias. I did get a little bit cheaper, but he batted under 200. There's not a ton of this. I don't know if Cleveland's a team that I would stack, or you would pick a couple of bats. Jones, you could look at Nolan Jones as well. 237 batting average if he gets in that starting lineup. I don't know if they're a full-fledged stacking team, but you could take some of them. And then Kansas City bats, if I were to use any, Sal Perez, Michael Garcia, Bobby Witt Jr., MJ Melendez, and Hunter Renfroe are the bats that would jump out to me for this game. Then with the final game on this early slate, Pittsburgh versus Miami, you got Belozo versus Bailey Falter. So Valiente Belozo faced Pitt once last year, 5.1 innings, 1 earned run. That's what I'm kind of looking at. Marlins were called below. Yeah. So he is filling in. I don't know how far he'll go into this game. He didn't make the team out of spring training. But when he was pitching last year, 5+ innings. So he's getting the innings. The fantasy points weren't there. The swing and the miss stuff was not there. So that tells me maybe look at Pittsburgh bats a little bit. Then Bailey Falter would come in, splits-wise, faced Miami twice last year, 6 earned runs, 7 Ks, only averaged 11.9. That is not enough for me. He's under 7K, but I think I'd rather take the bats in this one, which is wild. So Pittsburgh versus Miami. Looking at Pittsburgh bats. Like, they haven't seen him much. O'Neal Cruz has a home run. Had a monster home run on Friday. And you can see they hit righties way better than they hit lefties. So if I'm looking here, I would look at IKF would be a cheap infield option. 282 batting average, 7 bombs. O'Neal Cruz, 15 bombs. McCutchen, 14 bombs. Brian Reynolds, 18 bombs. Brian Reynolds did let a lot of us down on Friday, though. But usually when they let you down and you counted on them, you don't want to use them the next day, and that's when they hit a home run. So would not surprise me if Brian Reynolds hits a home run. And if we're not using Bailey Falter, against left-handed pitching, they really haven't done anything at all. So, yeah. They're better against righties. I don't think I want anyone on this team. Could they put up runs? Yes. But I'm probably off of stacking Miami. If I'm stacking anyone in this game, it would be Pittsburgh today. And there you have it. That is the early slate completed. And hopefully enough to get you at 30 minutes in, and we got the early slate. That's why baseball's a great sport, but we got a ton of information that we have to go over. So we are going to shift our focus to the main slate that consists of 6 games. No weather concerns as I'm seeing. We've got 4 domes out of the 6 teams. One's in LA where it barely rains. The other one's San Diego, same thing, barely rains. So before we get into that, the keyword of the day is haircut, because your boy got a haircut for the first time in 3 months. So that being said, we are going to cover this slate right here. So, digging into this one, Boston at Texas, the first game on the slate here for your main slate, and we'll look at it. So you got Walker Buehler versus Tyler Mahle. Buehler coming in, splits-wise, faced Texas once last year, only averaged 6.5, went 5 innings, 2 earned runs, 2 strikeouts. Really didn't do much there. And he's on the road, pitching for his new team. Scares me a little bit. I don't know what to expect here. But if we dig into this game here, we can see. Mahle, on the other hand, again, another one I really don't know what to expect. Faced Boston once last year, 7 strikeouts, had a great game. He's 7K, so he's a little bit cheaper. Just kind of seeing if there's any sort of, which Boston team is going to show up. Is it going to be the team that dominated day one? Is it going to be the team that was kind of lackluster on Friday? Don't really know. Put up 1 run on Friday. Mahle, for tournaments, I'm okay with. 6 games, I am okay with that one. If we're looking at bats in this one, Boston bats against Mahle. No one's hit a home run. They've had mild success, but they really haven't seen him. Against right-handed pitching last year, Devers had 293 batting average, 24 bombs. He has not looked good, very good to start the season. Wilyer Abreu I would look at. I would look at Jarren Duran. Had, I believe, a big double yesterday. Almost batted 300 in 463 at-bats. Almost batted 300 against righties. Had 17 bombs. I would look at him. Rafaela, 12 bombs I would look at. Bregman with 18 bombs. All of those guys I would look at there. Devers, I'm hot and cold on him. I have not got a read on him yet. He's still priced up there like he's a stud, and he hasn't shown much the first couple of games. But I would put him in a stack there against Mahle. And then Texas bats against Walker Buehler. Corey Seager has a home run. Jock Peterson has a home run. And that's it. You look against right-handed pitching, though. Corey Seager had 24 bombs last year, 291 batting average. Simeon had 18 bombs. Adolis Garcia had 18 bombs. Leody Taveras had 11 bombs. I would look at those guys if I'm stacking. Jonah Heim had 2 home runs yesterday. This is one where it feels like he goes off for 2 home runs, and then he rests today for no reason. But if Jonah Heim is in, I would look at him again. I would fully expect him to be in because Higashioka usually only against lefties, so we'll kind of see. But pitching-wise, probably off of them and stacking both. I think I like Texas a little bit more, but I will stack a little bit of Boston. The Mets at Houston. I don't know if you guys are aware, but Juan Soto's on the team. He got a single his first game of the year with him. MLB's really pushing him. I think it's going to get annoying how much they're pushing this narrative of just, when he wipes his butt. I can't wait for them to report on the first time he takes a poop in the clubhouse. But anyway, neither here nor there. We got Mr. Spaghetti versus Griffin Canning. Mr. Spaghetti, 4.53 ERA last year, did not face the Mets. They're a good team. I don't trust him. I think a lot of people will be on the Mets, so the only fact that I would use Arrighetti would be tournaments and to be contrarian because everyone's going to be on the Mets. Griffin Canning, obviously on a different team, faced Houston 3 times last year, 18 hits allowed, 9 earned runs, 7 strikeouts, only averaged 5.2. Honestly, I think you could go away from this game pitching, and you could specifically look at bats. Mets bats, they really haven't. Juan Soto has a home run. I would obviously look at him. Against right-handed pitching last year, I'd still get Pete Alonso at 25 bombs. I would look at Mark Vientos. I would look at Juan Soto. I would look at Jesse Winker if I'm stacking to get a little bit different, and maybe a little bit of Tyrone Taylor to get a little bit different from what most people probably would pick in this stack. And then Houston. Against Griffin Canning, Jordan has batted .538 with 2 bombs. Christian Walker batted over .500 with 2 bombs. Yainer Diaz, .400 batting average with a home run. I would use those 3. Cheaper option, Mauricio Dubon. If he starts, I don't know if he'll start. DeZenzo batted .293 with 2 bombs. If he is in there, I would look at him, and maybe a little bit Jeremy Pena if we're stacking Houston. Other than that, I don't trust a lot of others with the lineup that's going to come out of there. So all in all, in this matchup, I'm probably leaning more towards Mets bats and fading both pitching, but I could see you stacking both teams and feeling pretty good about it. Atlanta at San Diego, Schwellenbach versus Randy Vasquez. So we have a little bit cheaper option with Vasquez and price-wise. Schwellenbach at 8,800 seems wild to me. Faced San Diego once last year, 7 innings pitched, only 3 strikeouts, so didn't really do much against them, but averaged 21.4 fantasy points because he went so deep into the game, which you would like to look at. But 8,800 is kind of a steep price for me. But we'll see against this main slate. You can see his last 4 starts of the year, 20-plus fantasy points. That's basically what we need in this one from him. So if he could get that, I'm okay with that, especially at 8,800. Vasquez, on the other hand, 4.87 ERA last year, faced Atlanta twice, 5 earned runs, 7 strikeouts, 9.9 fantasy points per game. Not a lot. He is 6,400 though, so if you're one that makes multiple lineups, like 20-plus lineups, I could see you putting him in for a tournament. But if you don't make multiple, I don't see it working out. San Diego bats against Schwellenbach. No one's really had success. Against righties, though, you can see they absolutely killed it more than lefties. If you were to take one, Fernando Tatis Jr. had a home run yesterday, so I would look at him. He had 19 bombs last year. Jackson Merrill, a .311 batting average with 19 bombs as well, you could look at. You could look at Cronenworth with 16 bombs, Machado with 22. Like, this feels like San Diego is I think a lot of people will be on Schwellenbach, and they might have a good game. But I want to go contrarian. I want to make multiple different San Diego stacks today. Like, pretty much everyone who's in the starting lineup feels good and I'd feel comfortable with. So I will make some sort of just differentiation and have different stacks there. Atlanta bats against Vasquez. Ozuna has a home run, and that is it. But if you get against righties, though, Orlando Arcia had 16. But I mean, look at this. All double-digit home runs. This one just feels like one of those where I'm fading both pitchers. I will look at both teams, multiple different ways to stack these teams. That's the way it looks like. Almost everyone is in play batting-wise. We'll just have to wait for the lineups to come out, and luckily it's later in the day, so we should have some time. Chicago at Arizona, Amanaga versus Brandon Pfaadt. Pfaadt just had I think he just signed a 5-year extension, either Friday or late Thursday. Amanaga against Arizona. They don't have. Wait a minute. Amanaga will not start either of the Cubs' first 2 games during their March 27th to 30th series against the Diamondbacks. Started the first game, yeah. And the Dodgers spun 4 scoreless, so we'll have to wait until. Okay, so I don't know why his stats aren't showing up because he's already pitched in what was the beginning of the season, what they counted it. But he 4 scoreless innings. Obviously, we would need more than 4 innings out of him. Against Arizona, he put up 31.4. He had 10 strikeouts last year. I'm curious if that was on the road, because if you look, his splits a little bit worse on the road, but I wonder. Let's see. No, that was in Chicago. Still, I mean, he's putting up some great numbers here. Love me some Amanaga, 9,800. If I were to choose between Amanaga or Schwellenbach, I'm probably going Amanaga since they're right around the same price point. And then Brandon Pfaadt, splits-wise, Cubs twice last year, 14 innings pitched, only 2 earned runs, had 13 strikeouts, averaged 24.4, and he's sub 8K. Give me some of that. For tournaments only, give me some of that. But if we're looking at bats, we're trying to see which bats we like. Let's find out on outlier.bet. So we are looking here. Against Brandon Pfaadt, Dansby Swanson has a home run, and that's it. Against right-handed pitching, Michael Busch had 20 bombs. You had Dansby Swanson with 12. You had Ian Happ at 18. Suzuki at 17. Kyle Tucker had 18. Those numbers are pretty good. You could look at any of those as a stack. Swanson is another one you could look at as well. So if you don't want to go with Brandon Pfaadt at 7,700, and again, we just looked at his numbers. He averaged 24.4, which was great. Under 8K. I think people are going to be on him. If you want to go different, I would go with a Cub stack. Arizona against Amanaga. I mean, Eugenio Suarez against a lefty, I'm always up for. He has a home run against him. Ketel Marte against lefties last year, batted 342, 18 bombs. You had Perdomo with 318 batting average. You had Randall Grichuk. You guys know, if you've been with us, we love to take Randall Grichuk against lefties. Last year, 319 batting average, 16 bombs. Lourdes Gurriel Jr. is another one we look at. 331 batting average, 7 bombs. It might be a game where people are going to be on Amanaga because of his price. Maybe we go with just stacking offense in this game. I mean, Gurriel, Grichuk, Eugenio Suarez, Ketel Marte, Gabriel Moreno. I would use all of them against Amanaga here. They hit lefties very well. Now, again, not everything we say is going to be completely perfect. We're just trying to break down each and every game. If you want to see even more, you want to see optimal lineups, you want to see everything, that's on the website. So we got Detroit at the Dodgers. We've got Sasaki making his debut versus Reese Olson. So Sasaki coming in. He's making his debut in LA, I should say. He did pitch in Tokyo against the Cubs. 3 innings, 1 hit, 5 walks. So it's shaky. The walks were shaky. And that's, maybe we'll see. If it was just nerves, we'll definitely see. Obviously, we got nothing else to go off of. He's 8,500. Got Reese Olson going up against the Dodgers. Everyone's always going to stack the Dodgers. Dodgers are going to have some bad games. They will have bad games. Reese Olson at 6,800 for a tournament pick, I'm okay with that. Just because everyone's going to be on the Dodgers. So, optimal lineup. And if the 90% of people are on the Dodgers bats and they are cold for the day and you were part of the 10% that's on the pitching, you should be in a good spot. Dodgers bats against Reese Olson. Muncy has a home run, and that is it. Obviously, they hit home runs. They hit very well. Freddie Freeman batted 300 last year against right-handed pitching. Miguel Rojas batted 296. Ohtani 322 with 42 bombs. We know those. Reese Olson for tournaments. If you don't want to go that way, the Dodgers stack every game for 162 straight games. That's stupid. And then you've got Detroit bats. Obviously, they've never seen Sasaki before, but against right-handed pitching last year, not a ton of success. Kerry Carpenter, 17 bombs, batted 305. But other than that, they're all below. So we could look at Sasaki. The only problem is, hopefully he goes deeper into a game, and hopefully he does not walk a ton and get in trouble like he did in Tokyo. So I'm going to say he bounces back. The problem is they priced him up to 8,500. That's pretty much the only problem. Then the Athletics versus Seattle. You got Bryce Miller versus Osvaldo Bido. Both under 8K. I'm okay with that. Bryce Miller last year against the Athletics, 23.3 fantasy points, 6 innings pitched, only 2 earned runs, had 9 strikeouts. Again, if you're new to the channel, you can't tell me this isn't Morgan Wallen. I've never seen Bryce Miller and Morgan Wallen in the same room together. This is Morgan Wallen. Tell me I'm wrong. Go look up a picture of Morgan Wallen. Tell me I'm wrong. I'm not. Bryce Miller at 7,900, I'm okay with because at Athletics, they love to strike out. Seattle loves to strike out too, though. You look at Bido. He played Seattle once last year, 4 earned runs, 4 strikeouts. Really didn't do much. won the spot start, entered camp seemingly lock in rotation, but has struggled with a 9.24 ERA this spring. That's against minor league players. That scares me. He's 7,100. He has struggled in the spring. He had a 3.41 ERA last year. Didn't really do much against the Seattle team. That does scare me a little bit. So let's take a look at possibly the bats against him. Butler has a home run, but that's it. You look at against right-handed pitching last year. J.J. Bleday had 14 bombs. Lawrence Butler had 17. Seth Brown had 13. I would look at them. Gio Urshela with 9 bombs, batted .271. I'm okay with them. Seattle bats against Beto. No, Cal Raleigh, big dumper, has a home run. Wouldn't surprise me if he hits one today. You look at the right-handed pitching, they don't do as well, but Beto has looked very bad in spring. So I would look at Cal Raleigh. I would look at J-Rod. I would look at Rowdy Tellez for a little bit cheaper option. And maybe Luke Raley, who batted .255 and 20 bombs with 54 RBIs, are the batters that I would look at for Seattle. So that is the breakdown. Those are all 15 games, all 30 teams, all pitchers, all of the pitchers that are on the slate, all of the batters that we like. Looked at DraftKings. Obviously, we're going to have a ton of information. Under the MLB tab, we have a lot you can see from prop bets all the way up. We have a ton for you. $10 for a week for FTA Plus. Through the weekend, though, I've been asked to hold off. If you guys are interested, email me. Instead of $199 for a yearly pass, you can get it for $75. You got to email me by the end of the weekend, dfshelp1@gmail.com. Now, we are done with the bats. I was going to do pitches be crazy, but I want to get a couple of more starts under the belt before I want to see about 2 weeks worth of games from both pitchers and hitters to see how the teams are striking out before we jump back into that. So I would say by April 15th, by tax day, we will start the Pitches Be Crazy segment back up on the channel. But if we are looking at, through 10,000 simulations, how many bats have a 10 out of 10 matchup rating, it's wild right now. Let's take a look for you right now. Number 1 is Bryce Harper against Jake Irvin. Number 2 is Kyle Schwarber. 3 is O'Neal Cruz. 4 is Brian Reynolds. 5 is Ketel Marte. 6 is Brandon Lau. 7 is Juan Soto. 8 is Gunnar Henderson. 9, Taylor Ward. 10, Andrew McCutchen. 11, Yordan. 12, Corey Seager. 13, Yandy Diaz. 14, Vladdy. 15, Mookie Betts. 16, Nolan Schanuel. 17, Joey Bart. 18, Christian Walker. 19, Nico Horner. 20, Jonathan Aranda. 21, Jackson Merrill. 22, Tommy Pham. 23, Austin Riley. 24, Danny Jansen. 25, Marcell Ozuna. 26, Taylor Walls. And 27, Alejandro Kirk versus Dean Kramer. Now, I think this is a record for how many batters have a 10 out of 10 matchup rating through 10,000 simulations. And I'm talking for as long as we've done this. That is an absurd amount. The top ones you could look at for feel good about it and go over under 1.5 bases. Bets, I don't mind that with Harper, Schwarber, O'Neal, Brian Reynolds, Ketel Marte. Like, I love that. Those would be some of my top bets. And then if we look at pitchers, now these are through 10,000. They can and will change. Sometimes we agree with them, sometimes we do not. But this is the entire day, not just the main slate or the early slate. As of right now, it's got Bryce Miller as the number 1 pitcher. I think this changes throughout the day, but that's one. Number 2 is Spencer Arrighetti, which I do not trust that right now because the Mets obviously can put up some runs. Sasaki is number 3. Joe Ryan is number 4. Number 5 is Max Fried. Number 6 is Zach Littell. Number 7 is Jose Soriano. Number 8 is Brandon Pfaadt. Number 9 is Valdo Beto. And number 10 is Nick Lodolo. So I don't agree with them yet. I'll see how the news breaks and kind of see going forward. But I'm probably doing a little bit differently than that. But we are here for you. Those are the breakdowns of all 15 games, 30 teams, pitchers, batters, our top batters through 10,000 simulations. So check back on the website if you want to check out NBA content, you want to check out MLB content, you want to check out NASCAR. We've got NASCAR. We've got MMA. A lot of you guys are liking the MMA. So it's been fun for the MMA. And if that's what you guys are into and you haven't tried MMA, try it out. See what you guys like. So that being said, might start scaling back the NBA content. We'll see. We'll just see how the numbers do this weekend. So that's what I've got in this video. Let's have a fantastic Saturday. Let's build our bankrolls. Let's have fun out there. But as always, let's bring home some bacon. Peace.